Hey guys, welcome to Big Sister Wellness Podcast. You might notice that we are missing somebody, the great Taylor Conrad. We are missing her. We miss you. We love you. But I also get to share the couch this week with the great Dr. Berkley McClure. So welcome to the podcast, Dr. Berkley.
I am so excited to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. We're going to get to have a little girl chat. We've been girl chatting actually all day. If you don't know who Berkley is, she is a chiropractor here at Heritage Row. She'll tell you more about that. She's also going to be sharing her own health story, which is so insightful. And I promise you guys are going to walk away with not only getting to know her more, which is great if you're local and especially if you're a patient here at Heritage Row, but you're also going to get to walk away with some really insightful thoughts and ideas around health. So I'm pumped to get to hear that.
I'm honored to share.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, seriously. I've already told you this off camera, but thank you for being here to share it. So what we're going to do today, before we dive in, y'all know we like our big sister chat around here, our little pop culture segment. Oh, and before we jump into that, I do have to acknowledge two things. Number one, last podcast, y'all showed up in the comments, you as well.
I did.
So thank you for listening. I will still beg for the comments. So please comment. Go right now and comment whether you're listening on Spotify or on YouTube. Like comment what you're loving, what you loved about last episode or what you're excited to hear about in this episode. Comment multiple times, okay? It doesn't have to just be one comment and you're done. You can comment and comment as much as you want. And we will go back and respond to them. We love them. Taylor and I literally get so giddy every time we get a comment.
So sweet.
We'll text each other and be like, go look at the comment that we just got. It's so cute. The second thing that I have to acknowledge is that in the last episode at the very end, Taylor mentioned that we were going to be posting our PCOS or PMOS menstrual cycle episode this time around, and we're not. We haven't recorded it yet. That was the plan, but Taylor had to go out of town, and so we are going to post that ASAP for you guys, but we really want to give that episode, just like every episode, the right time, attention, energy, knowledge that it deserves and that you guys deserve to hear. So give us a little bit more time on that. We're going to get that recorded and out ASAP, but we do get to hear from Dr. Berkley today, which I'm so pumped. Cool?
Cool.
All right. So pop culture segment, I brought in something that's going on in really the social media world, I guess is what you would say, the wedding world for a little hint. And I have no idea, me and Berkley haven't talked about if she's a fan of this person or not or knows who it is. So we're going to get her raw reaction. But Berkley, have you heard of Paige Lorenz?
No.
I love Paige Lorenz. She is a content creator, influencer, if you will, but has really turned into this business mogul. And she's the owner and founder of the brand called Dairy Boy. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I feel like I'm very uncultured right now.
That's okay. That's okay. You're now going to be turned on to her. You're going to see her everywhere now.
Yeah.
Well, she just got married, and just her aesthetic and her style, and I love everything about it. Like, I'm literally a fangirl. Wade's always like, I love her YouTube videos, like everything. And I followed her on Instagram for a long time. Well, she just got married to the tennis player Tommy Paul. I feel like this is turning into a pop culture podcast.
Yeah.
So I was going to show you like her wedding and get just kind of your like reaction if this is like your vibe, if it's not your vibe, but they just released the photos with Vogue Wedding. And so anyway.
That's beautiful.
If you don't follow Paige, you need to go follow her. And she's now Paige Paul.
I really like the dress.
So gorgeous. And it shows her second outfit. Let me see.
Oh, that's so cute.
That picture.
Yeah, beautiful.
Crazy. And what he wore too.
Like a model.
Seriously. That's like a look at her second. If you know who I'm talking about, comment below. For multiple reasons. Engagement, but also because where are my Paige girlies at? Where are my Dairy Boy girlies at?
There's probably a lot of them.
There's probably a lot. But like, isn't that so pretty? It's like, this has been one of those weddings that when they got engaged, the people who've been following Paige, I think we've been anticipating this wedding. This is kind of like a royal wedding in our eyes. So Paige, if you're ever listening to this, I love what you did. Love what you did with the place. Like, it's seriously so good, and I can't wait to see more content around it and all of the things.
I gotta go follow her now.
You do. You absolutely do. And Dairy Boy. Seriously. Dairy Boy. Big fan. Big fan. Okay, now we're going to jump into your health story, Berks. You ready?
I'm ready.
And if you hear me calling her Berks, it's not to be confused with Brooks. We'll get into that. Maybe your nickname, you can tell them about that and everything. But let's get into the episode.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Big Sister Wellness Podcast, where one of us is a doctor and one of us is going down the wellness rabbit hole and asking all the questions. And together, we're sharing our thoughts, what we're learning, and real conversations with experts along the way.
Think of us as your big sisters. Real talk, honest conversations, and lots of fun along the way. And you'll actually leave knowing what to do next for yourself and your family.
Let's get into it.
All right, Berkley. I'm going to ask you the most general question there is, which is, tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so a little bit about me is that I am a chiropractor at Heritage Row, getting to work with Dr. Brooks here. And overall, who I am, I guess, is that I grew up in Argyle, Texas, a small town. I went to Tarleton State, which is an undergrad school, and then Parker University, where I met Brooks here. And then here I am, we're getting to work with you. It was a God story. It was a God thing that we get to work together.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We went to Kettlebells. Shout out Kettlebells. They're doing Fall Fridays, I think they're calling it.
Yeah.
Where they're releasing some fall flavors. And then we went to Wild Grain in Bryan as well. And Wild Grain is one of our absolute favorites. So we got some coffee there. Shout out to Wild Grain and Kettlebells. They're amazing. So that's what I'm sipping on.
Yeah, savor the coffee when you go.
Exactly. It's so good. But that's what we were bonding over too was, the God story of how we got reconnected, if you will, and how Berkley ended up being at Heritage Row and a part of the team. Cool.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your actual health journey, or maybe even what some people would consider like lack of health journey, right? But talk to us about that.
Yeah. So it goes back to when I was about 14 years old. I noticed I was starting to not hear very well in my left ear. And I was a naive 14-year-old, kind of was like, okay, I know that's not normal. But I kind of just went on with life. And I was telling a few people in my life that I was like, yeah, I'm losing hearing in my left ear. I would answer the phone on my left and I would be able to hear that someone's talking, but I wouldn't be able to make out what they were saying. Or I would listen to music in my left ear and only hear the bass of the music. And so, yeah, and then I was getting these severe headaches that medication wasn't helping at all for. And almost if you're going to dive into the pool, and then when you're deep in the pool, the pressure that you have, that was the kind of headache I was experiencing. But at that time when I was 15, I was just every teenager gets headaches. I didn't really think too much about it. And then one day, because I shot archery in high school, and my dad was watching me, and he was like, you've been swaying. And with archery, you need to have good balance. And I didn't notice that. And I think that was when he was like, okay, let's just look into a few things. And my mom was noticing some things too. So we went to an audiologist. And we went there 3 different times to do a few hearing tests. And they all came back a little inconclusive. And he told my dad, he was like, she's a teenage girl just seeking for attention. And that I was very frustrated with that. Yeah, I felt very unheard. And I looked to my dad and I was like, do you believe him? And he was like, no. And so we went to they're called an audiology neurotology audiologist.
Wow.
And there he ordered a CT scan, and I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't scared of a CT scan. I was naive. I had no idea. I was like, oh, they're just going to look into my ear canal. And an hour after the scan, that doctor actually called my dad, and usually the doctor doesn't call about the results. And he said that they found a mass, and they wanted to do an MRI to look deeper into what the mass was. And so the next day we got an MRI. And in the scan, they found a golf ball-sized tumor that was pressing against my brainstem. It was wrapped around 8 of the 12 cranial nerves.
Wow.
And it started to grow on the hearing nerve. And it takes 5 to 10 years to grow, and it grows very slowly. They're actually found in the elderly. So it was very rare at that time I was 16, for them to find a tumor like that. And so 2 weeks later, we had the 12-hour surgery where they removed the tumor successfully. They had to remove part of the hearing nerve, and so I'm completely deaf in my left ear. And then they didn't know in the surgery, but they like nicked the facial nerve, and so I'm partially paralyzed on the left side of my face. But for about a year and a half after the surgery, it was completely paralyzed on the left side. And in the surgery, they took out a quarter of the cerebellum, and the cerebellum is a big like balance region of the brain. And so anyways, after the surgery, I was coping with facial paralysis being in high school, and then having just like a lack of balance, but I thought that was just going to be my normal life, just losing balance. But to go back before the surgery, I remember my parents asking me, "Are you scared for the surgery?" And I was like, no, because I know God is going to use this for his kingdom. Like, I truly wasn't scared. I was like, this is just shocking, but I just knew God had me along the way. And yeah, that's the story. And then so whenever after the surgery, I was homebound taught for about 8 months because I couldn't go back to school. They just didn't want me to get sick, and then just like the healing. And so I went back to school, and that was very hard being in high school with like the paralyzed face. And then anyways, and then went to college, and about 7 years. So okay, I'm gonna go back again. The neurosurgeon, I love him. He saved my life, but also he was pretty old school, and he was like, "You're young, you're gonna bounce back after the surgery." And we didn't know any better. But when I look back, like, having chiropractic care would have been so beneficial, because I mean, my brain was dug into.
Literally.
And there was just like a lot of balance issues and stuff, but we didn't know. Anyways, 7 years after the surgery, I did get chiropractic care, and after only 3 neck adjustments, my life completely changed. I had no idea that my nervous system was so unregulated. Like, I feel like my brain was over here and my body was on the complete opposite of the room. Until those adjustments, it was just like, I want everyone else to feel how regulated your body can feel.
It's possible, right? And I'm sure there's people listening right now that are like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I feel. And also, you don't necessarily have to have had a brain tumor to feel that way, right? But no matter what your health story looks like, it's possible to feel more regulated than you probably do right now. Berkley, thank you for sharing all of that. Oh my goodness. Are there things that, looking back, it sounds like God was already laying his hands on you and the peace of the Holy Spirit within you. But are there things looking back that either you wish you would have done differently, or if somebody's experiencing something similar, they're in a journey of kind of unknown, or maybe they know there's a bigger purpose, but it's still hard to go through, that you would encourage them with, or that you would go back and tell yourself?
If I could go back and tell myself, that's a great question.
Yeah, think about it. Take your time.
I would definitely, it's hard because like I was naive about everything in life. Right. So I can't be like, okay, 14-year-old Berkley, like keep fighting for like being heard and seen. But I would have said that. Like, I would want my younger self to listen to my body and be like, okay, like something isn't right. Like, let's keep pursuing what's going on. Because if they hadn't found out about the brain tumor when they did, it would have been a completely different outcome, even if it was a few months later down the road. Like, it was growing very rapidly at that point.
Wow. And what, you mentioned some of the signs that were starting to show up, but did they talk through with you, or have you since come to a conclusion? We see this a lot at the office where people want to know the one thing that caused it, right? and it's rarely ever one thing, you guys, but have you mulled over that? You know, what led to that tumor? Why that tumor may have began in the first place? Any thoughts on that from like a human perspective, like you as the patient, but also even like you as the doctor now?
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot over the years, because that was in 2014. So it's been a while, and I have no idea. Like, even in like the normal cases of when they find this tumor, they have no idea like what caused it. And I've wrestled with the fact of like what could have done that. I don't know, but to think that I could have had it when I was 6, because they said it was growing between 5 and 10 years. So I could have been 6 years old, but you don't know. Like, as you're growing up, things are changing all the time. And so who knows what I was experiencing when I was younger growing up with a brain tumor. But yeah, I have no idea what started it.
Yeah, I love your honesty with that. I'm going to poke a little further even. What is your emotion around not knowing? Does that scare you? Does that empower you? How does that make you feel? Because we sit across from so many people every day who sometimes can be, and maybe this is you listening or watching, that are just chained to this idea that you're going to find the one root cause. And I'm not saying it's impossible, absolutely not. But I think sometimes that mindset can really limit your ability to heal through something if you're just constantly going to the past and trying to find the root cause. So how do you wrestle with that now? Is it something that you still struggle with wondering about, or have you moved on from that and can move through it easier?
Honestly, I feel I'm not struggling with it, and I've accepted the fact that this has happened in my life and God's going to use it. I mean, sure, like I really wish it didn't happen. I want to be able to hear in my left ear and not have facial paralysis, but I have no idea what started it, and I'm okay with that, because just this is how God's writing my story.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. I think that in itself, we could stop the podcast right now. That would be like really healing for people to hear that, to hear just that. How do you think God is using your story, or has God used your story? What have been some moments where, even looking back, you mentioned, I wish it wouldn't have happened, but have there been moments or interactions with people or patients, or just even personal experiences that have made you go, oh, maybe that was why, or maybe it was for something bigger than what it seemed like at the time?
Yeah, I can think of a lot of experiences like that, but some of the most recent ones are, I really want people to feel seen and heard, because I wasn't seen and heard by actually 2 different doctors before we found the right provider. And I want, no matter if it's like a patient or just like a friend, like I want them to feel seen and heard. So I know that my story, like my personal story, has impacted my professional and personal life.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, absolutely. I actually got to hear Berkley's story at a Parker Power weekend. I got to hear a little bit of it, and then as we followed each other on Instagram, got to hear more as she shared more. And then we weren't super close in chiropractic school because we were in different grades, if you will. But we always stayed connected, and then we got to reconnect after. And so even hearing her story now, I feel like I'm hearing it with different eyes, right? Because we're in a different phase of our own relationship, if you will. And I'm hearing even more than I've heard before too, which is really, really insightful. And I'm just so happy that I get to know you, and for how you have been able to move through that at that time and even now, and how I've gotten to hear you share bits and pieces with patients here is so special. And even on the website, how much you shared. And speaking of that, I want to hear, you touched on how chiropractic changed your life. Can you talk more about what that was like? And even if you want to go, you don't have to, but if you want to go into some of like the neurology behind it, or, takes on that, tell us more about how chiropractic really changed your life.
Yeah. So the first adjustment just like shook me. Like my whole entire body was just like, whoa, what was that? And so, and then, like I said, 2 other appointments, like it was just, my body felt like it was communicating, and it hasn't felt like that probably all of my life. And that was what was life-changing, of this is how life should be. Like, it just felt like I was walking on a boat a lot of the times, and I was just used to that. Like, if a cop pulled me over, I don't think I would have been able to pass the, like, the whatever the foot-to-foot test is. Like, whenever you're walking the line, yeah, I don't think I would have passed that.
Thank God you got adjusted.
Yes. Yeah, that was life-changing. And then at that point, that was when I was like, I want to be a chiropractor and help other people experience that.
And have you had moments where patients have had that experience of like, whoa, and how has that felt to now be on the other side of the hill or the process of it?
It feels so, I don't know, that's a good question. It feels so real. Like, I experienced this, but now someone else is experiencing this, and I get to be a part of that, but that's their body getting to, like, it's like their body is working the way God has designed them to, and I get to be a small part of that.
Totally. It's such an honor. Like, patients who are listening, y'all might be giggling because we say so many times through text, through phone call, through us talking to you guys, what an honor it is to see y'all. And we don't say that lightly. We really mean it. When we get to be a small part of the reason why you feel better and heal better and can be a better mother, daughter, husband, wife, sister, friend, all the things, we really mean that. So thank you to all the patients listening for letting us be a part of that journey. Can we touch on a little bit, let's get nerdy for a second, on how chiropractic actually impacts the brain? We don't have to go to the depths of a whole neuroscience seminar, but can you talk us through, and I'm happy to join in as well, of, people who might be listening that either see a chiropractor right now or have just heard about chiropractic only think about it when it comes to pain. So how could that be that somebody who's had a brain tumor and brain surgery and was having the signals that your body was sending you of feeling like you're on a boat, how can that be that you got an adjustment and it changed your life in such a profound way that was bigger than just pain relief?
Yeah. So at the time I didn't know this, but now I look back, the chiropractor adjusted C1, the very first vertebrae of the spine. And we say this at the office all the time. C1 is like the gateway between your brain and body. So many things are controlled with C1, like the nerves and everything. And so with the adjustment, balancing out like C1, everything else was flowing how it should be.
Totally.
And it was just more impactful than just like the adjustment to that C1. It was like impacting like the cranial nerves as well, and the brainstem, because the brainstem is so intimately close to C1, and that's where the brain tumor was attached to. And so when everything was like shifted for who knows how long, with that adjustment, it was balancing out how the body or the brain stem and C1 should be to help the flow.
Absolutely. So brain to body communication. If your brain and your body are like a highway system, that area that she's talking about, the upper cervical spine is how you'll hear like the technical terminology for it is. That C1 area, like she said, is the gateway between that highway system going from brain to body and body to brain. So relieving a lot of the stress and tension that had been up there for, again, probably who knows how long, and then add on what that tumor was probably doing, right? That adjustment opened up so much flow. And can you tell them what kind of adjustment it was? Can you talk through that? And we can talk about maybe some differences in adjustments for a second too. I think they'd find that interesting.
Okay. So I was laying on my back, and I'm pretty sure it was a push adjustment instead of like the typical, adjustment. And when the chiropractor made the adjustment, my body actually just reacted in the way I had no idea. Like, I had no conscious motor of like how my body was going to react to this adjustment. And whenever he adjusted me, like my body kind of like went, I didn't fall off the table, but I like shifted a lot, and I was kind of like, whoa, like what was that? And he was like, I was actually expecting that response. because it was such a specific adjustment to C1 that impacted my body like immediately.
Yeah, I love what you just said about that. And you mentioned this a second ago, I meant to add on to. So when Dr. Berkley is talking about that adjustment to C1 impacting so much more, she's referencing that highway system that if you think of it almost like a traffic jam right up next to the brain, if you clear that, that's going to open up so much flow, like she said, into the rest of the body, which is why you'll get sometimes a reaction through the body, not just a physical motion or motor response like she referenced just now, but also open flow into everything else, right? We see so many people who have better bowel movements, who have better focus, better mood, better balance, like she said, right? I might have already said this, better bowel movements and less congestion, just overall better flow. I mean, looking at that front desk right now, I know there's a lot of notes from patients who have talked about regulating their cycles and improving fertility and healthy pregnancies and just all of this cool stuff. And is that from the chiropractor or the chiropractic adjustment? No, I would argue, no, it's not. That is helping to facilitate what God designed your body to do on its own when given the right things. And oftentimes a chiropractic adjustment can be one of those right things. It can also be a lot of other things. Sunshine and no processed food, whole foods and massage and, walks and exercise and, all of these red light therapy, acupuncture, like all of these great things. But it's really just unlocking the healing inside of you already. And that's the coolest freaking part.
I do want to add, I want to add something you were talking about. At the time I was experiencing irregular periods and I did not sleep very well. And just after a couple of those appointments with specific neck adjustments, I was having regular periods and I was sleeping so much better. And I didn't even tell him those things, but I experienced it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us more about from then to now.
Yeah, so that surgery was in 2014, and then in 2019 when I was in college, I was experiencing some symptoms that it was basically low thyroid symptoms, like losing hair. I can go into detail, but after a while I noticed that I had a mass on the right side of my thyroid, and we did a biopsy and it was inconclusive. And so they went in and they removed the right lobe of my thyroid along with the mass, and they biopsied it and everything, and it wasn't cancerous. But with that, they diagnosed me with Hashimoto's immediately. And so I've been dealing with regulating my thyroid since 2019. And then I'm going to jump into another thing. And then in 2020, when I actually turned 21, I started having uncontrollable seizures at night. And that's a whole nother story, but chiropractic care has really helped with those seizures. And I am on medication for it as well. And I don't want to be on medication. However, this is a season of life where I do need it to be on it. And later down the road, I do want to get off of it. But right now, it's been extremely life beneficial. I need it.
How beautiful hearing some of the crunchiest people that you'll probably meet or know. We're not perfect at it, but pretty darn crunchy and holistic to hear that seasons of life matter. Thank you for sharing that too. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share regarding your health story, or anything that one big main message that you really just hope people walk away from this episode knowing?
Yeah, the main message, the main key takeaway would be find the right provider that listens to you, because you're your own advocate and you deserve to be heard and seen. Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway.
Amen to that. You guys, if you're working with somebody, and this goes with us too, we'll throw ourselves under there or into this category. You are in control of your health care. You are in control of your health and your health care. So what I mean by that is, if you're working with a provider and you're not vibing with them, or you're not seeing what you want to see with them, you can move on to somebody else. I love talking to hairstylists about this, because y'all get this. And people get this in general, right? This analogy, it's very similar actually with chiropractors and hairstylists, because we all do it a little bit differently. And even seasons of life. I mean, we've sent people to other chiropractors in town because during the season of life that they're in, they would do better with that type of chiropractic care. But it's like going to a hairstylist. If you go to a hairstylist and you don't vibe with them, or you don't like the way that they cut your hair or wash your hair or color your hair, whatever it is, you don't just give up on hairstylists. You go find the one that works best for you. So it's the same way with chiropractors. It's the same way with OBs. It's the same way with endocrinologists. It's the same way with PCPs, massage therapists, dentists. Name it, it's the same. Don't give up on your health, and don't give up on a profession just because you had a bad experience or even multiple bad experiences. Like therapists, this is a wonderful one. How many patients have we heard this week that have talked about, like, man, I've gone through a bunch of therapists, but I finally found the right one, and oh my gosh, it was so worth it. It's like, it's the same thing with chiropractors, dentists, PTs, massage therapists, hairstylists, therapists. It's the same thing. So just don't give up on yourself and continue advocating for yourself, like Berkley was saying. Okay, well, I am dying, I'm sure y'all are too, to hear more about the thyroid, which we're not going to get into right now, but mainly because I don't think that we've posted Taylor's health story just yet. We're going to get on that as well, but I won't give too much away. Don't worry, Taylor. But she has a big history with the thyroid. That's all I'm going to say. And strong opinions about it. And so we're going to have to get you back on with her here so y'all can go down that rabbit hole.
That.
For sure. And raise your hand, comment below. You know me, please. Comment below if you are struggling with thyroid issues, or if you think you're struggling with thyroid issues, or if that is something that's a part of your health history, even if it's not present. I mean, the thyroid is just something we could do multiple episodes on, and its relation with the nervous system and the rest of your health and all of the things. So Berkley, you're gonna be back on if you'll come back on, okay?
Oh, I'll definitely be back.
Cool. Okay, fun question. Want to just get to know you a little bit on a fun level. Tell us about, so little rapid fire questions here. Tell us about, if you're stressed, do you have like a go-to song that you listen to, a go-to motto that you have? You know, what do you do when you're feeling like really stressed?
Do you know the movie The Jungle Book?
I do, but I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Disney fans, don't come for me.
Well, there's a song in there, and it's called The Bare Necessities.
Yes.
And I sing it in my head whenever I'm stressed. It just comes to my mind, and then you imagine the bear that's dancing too, and then it gives you you're in a good mood.
I love it. I love it. That's really cute. Okay, I know you love to read. These are surprise questions for you. You love to read. Do you read fiction as well? Or is it mostly nonfiction? And
I read both.
Okay. Do you have a favorite in each category? So maybe one health related one, a book that you'd recommend, or one fun fiction one?
I have a good fun fiction one.
Okay.
I love mystery books, but not thriller. I just love a good page turner. And I forgot the name of the books, but I do know. It's Finley Donovan.
Okay.
I think that's the name. It's a series, and I didn't know, but there's 7 books to it. Okay. And the author is L something with a C. Okay.
Shout out L something with a C.
Yeah. It could be wrong. But that series is a page turner, and I love doing that, reading those kind of books.
Heck yeah, that's good. I need to get into that. I actually do remember you saying that earlier on when you came on the team. And mystery books, that genre is something I haven't really dived into, so I need to get on that. Okay, another rapid fire is, do you have a biggest pet peeve?
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think I have a few.
Taylor, you're like Taylor. Taylor's like, I have this one and this one. Which should I share? I was like, share both.
Okay, one of them, I get so annoyed when someone is done drinking a plastic water bottle and then they crush it. Oh my gosh. I go from here to all the way up to the ceiling, and I cringe, and I'm just holding my mouth. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't do that again. One of my roommates in college, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but she would do it all the time. That's all that she would drink is water, plastic water bottles. And finally I was like, all right, if you're gonna do that, let me know, and I'm gonna close my right ear so I don't hear it. And then she was like, okay. And it helped. She like actually warned me.
Aw. She met you where you were at.
Yeah.
That's real love. That's a good friendship. Okay, well, I kind of have like, I don't know if you would say a hot take about that, but I've got to know your thoughts on this because I have a pet peeve regarding that a little bit, but maybe the opposite. When people throw away water bottles, like plastic water bottles, but they're not crushed up. They're full because then they like, full of air, I mean, so then they fill up the trash can faster. Yeah. So, like, what do you recommend for me in this office if I have to?
Do you crush the water bottles?
Yes, before I throw them away. Because then it's going to take up so much space. But also, you guys, we don't really drink out of... Okay, we're drinking out of plastic right now. Sue us. Don't really. Okay. But we rarely drink out of plastic water bottles, so it's really not an issue. But, like, what do I do? I guess I tell you.
Yeah.
I tell you if I'm going to do it.
So first, warn me.
Okay.
So I'll plug my right ear.
Okay.
And then I fully support that. And I just never even thought about that because it saves room.
Yes, that's why. That's why. But I was also raised, if my dad listens to this, like that was his biggest pet peeve if we would throw away water bottles and not crush them because it wasted so much space in the trash can. And so we were just like going through trash, and he was the one to take the trash out. So he was just kind of like, guys, come on, we could make so much more room for other things.
Yeah.
So that's why. But okay, now I know. We're learning how to be together even better.
Yes.
I love it. What's another one? You said you had multiple.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, another one is about hearing. So when someone I know knows I'm deaf in my left ear, but keeps whispering or like talking to me in my left side, and they don't remember, it really frustrates me. I'm like, how many times do I have to tell you that I can't hear you? And so yeah, that's a pet peeve if you like kind of ignore or like forget something really like big in your life. Like if I can't hear you, then how am I gonna communicate with you?
Right. Totally. That's a great one. Any other ones? If not, I've got one more to finish this off.
I have a lot, but I can't think of any more.
That's okay. That's okay. Two's pretty good. My biggest pet peeve, which you already know if you watched the first episode, you can go see or hear mine and Taylor's. But I thought of another one. Actually, Berkley and I were going to get kettlebells and wild grain earlier, and we were talking about concerts. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when people are drunk in public places, especially in a concert, at a concert, whenever you're all together and close, and the rowdiness of that and the overstimulation of somebody who's just drunk and all over everybody and everything. Whenever you said, like, I go from here to here, that's me in that moment.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's end on a positive note.
Yes.
Has anything happened this week that has been a major God wink or God moment? And take your time thinking about it if you need it.
Ooh. I can think of one that you told me.
Well, darn it, that's mine. Do you want to just go with that one?
Yeah,
I can
that
share that
one's
one.
a good one.
It can be both of ours. Okay, so Dr. Berkley saw a patient who, in one of the rooms that we have here at Heritage, or actually the one right behind us, and I have my childhood Bible out just for us to flip through, or if we read a verse that I want to stay reminded of throughout the day, I'll keep it up, and you never know when the Lord's going to work this into a patient conversation. And so, long story short, I believe the story goes that whenever she was seeing a patient, he went over and turned it to one of his favorite verses, Proverbs 3:5-6, and which is about trusting the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. And so, whenever I got here, she pointed that out, that, this patient, turned it there. And I was like, great, I'll read on it throughout the day. I'm all over that. And I guess it might have been maybe the next day, I saw a patient who was really going through a hard time. And that verse, as she was speaking to me, was just so obvious. It was so obvious that I needed to share that with her. And I did. We prayed about it. And she was so grateful for that. And it wasn't even me, right? It all goes back to how the Lord placed on her patient's heart to share that verse, that we left it up and then, shared it with her. And it was just such a God moment of how he was really working through her and us and him and connecting all of the dots in the stories. It was so sweet.
Yes, when you shared that to me, I was like goosebumped a little bit.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, as I was listening to what she was saying, I had goosebumps because I already was thinking, I've got to pray this verse over her. And how cool is that it was something that I didn't even pick out. You know, I could never have anticipated that this person was going to pick out quite literally the perfect verse that she needed to hear in that moment.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yes.
Well, Berkley, thank you so much for being on the Big Sister Wellness podcast.
Thank you. It's been great.
Yes, thanks. Make sure, like, comment, subscribe. Extra emphasis on the comments. We'll reply. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.